friends, how's it going? It's me, Betty Jean. Today's video is going to be a ranking, a long ranking. I'm gonna rank all the palettes I've tried so far this year. I did this grand ranking at the first third of the year. I figured I'd do it again now that we're through the second third of the year. We are 8 months into the year and that is crazy. We only have 4 more months to go. I don't know where this year went. And of course I'll do another grand one at the very end of the year. But I thought this would just be a fun way to kind of recap on what I've tried so far, my thoughts on everything, where things lie compared to other things, what are my favorites, what maybe was not so much my favorite. It's gonna be a long one. So get yourself a drink, a snack. I have myself a little spooky drink here and I'm ready. So many palettes to talk about. All of my discount codes are in my description box in case any of these pique your interest and you want to shop. I don't think I can fit all of these palettes in my description box because there are 79 that I'm going to talk about, but any codes I have will be listed down below for you, as well as the makeup details of what I'm wearing today. If you haven't seen the video, it's from a recent 3 looks 3 palettes video and I love this look so much, but all the makeup details will be in my description box as well. And as far as my accessories today go, this is just an old basic choker. These earrings are from Spooky Doodle Club and I think that says it all. I initially did get this video idea from Annette's Makeup Corner, so I'll have her channel down below, but without further ado, let's just hop in and rank all 79 of the palettes I've tried so far this year. Oh goodness, this one's gonna be a doozy. And this was tough. I've been keeping thorough notes all year long and now is the time to rank them for now. And really, I've mentioned this before, but I'm pretty picky with what I'm even willing to try. Like, I'm not gonna try things that I don't think I'm gonna like in the first place because that just seems silly to me. I try things with the intention of liking it. So because of that, I don't have a whole lot of things that I consider to be horrible. I really only have one palette, the last place palette, that I genuinely just don't like. I think it's not a good palette. But even everything else on the bottom, it's not necessarily that it's bad, it's just not perfect for me. But I'm gonna try my best to keep this as short and sweet as possible. I'll give you my quick reasons why it's ranked where it's ranked, and we're gonna move on. But there are a lot of amazing palettes I'm gonna talk about. Starting off, ranked number 79 is the Dream Gaze palette from Alter Ego. I believe this is a dupe for one of the Natasha Denona palettes, one of the pastel ones. I don't know off the top of my head, but it looks like this. One of my main gripes with Alter Ego is a lot of the time they try to replicate what I assume is in Natasha Denona's palettes, this like almost creamy texture matte, and I just don't love it. It doesn't get as pigmented ever as it looks in the pan. The shimmers in here are really pretty, but even the other classic mattes in this palette are just very ultra sheer, and I feel like even though it's pastel, it shouldn't be so sheer that it barely shows up on me. I'm a ghost. So this just was kind of a bummer. I have other pastel palettes that I love more, so this one just ended up being my least favorite so far. Ranked number 78 is actually the Mystique palette from Alter Ego. This is a dupe for, oh, I don't remember the name of it from Natasha Denona, the Cirque Loco maybe? I do love the vibes of this one. I think the colors are super fun. It's very playful, vibrant, very like carnival-esque, and it's just so cute. Again though, it has some of those like creamy mattes that I don't love, especially because it's a lot of the dark shades, like this dark blue will never get as dark as it looks in the pan. And because I have to be very picky with these rankings, with the nitpickiness in order to place things in an order, things like that are what brings it to the bottom for me. And there are just so many really good formulas amongst all of these palettes. And the fact that this has a formula that I strongly detest, it makes me want to put it lower. If this did not have that, it would have gotten ranked much higher because everything else is beautiful. I just truly detest that formula so much. So that's why this one's here. Really, the next few, you're gonna see a common theme, and that theme is that I'm not a quad girl. I just don't really like quads. It's just not my favorite thing. I like a little bit more variety. I like to feel more creative and not even challenged, but I just want more options. I don't want a giant palette, don't get me wrong, but quads are just not my favorite thing. It's not something I go out of my way to reach for. So these next 4 are basically in this place for the same reason, it just not being the size that I prefer, but I kind of ranked them based on color story, so least favorite to favorites, if that makes sense. So number 77 is the Cinequad from Game Beauty. This is from the Attack on Titan collab. It's cute. Like, it's a cutie little sunflower vibe. If you're into these vibes and you like a quad, I think you'd like this. The formula is nice. I think the shimmer is beautiful. These two have a little bit of like sequency twinkliness to it, but it's still a matte, which also isn't my favorite formula, but it's not a big deal to me. But it's fine. It's just not my favorite thing. I'm not gonna go out of my way to reach for this. Number 76 is the Maria quad, also from the Game Beauty and Attack on Titan collab. I just vibe with this color story more. I love a blue-yellow combo. The shimmers that are in here truly are so pretty. Really, really like this like bluey yellow shift. It's so cool. But again, just not a quad girl. 75 is the Rose quad. Again, also from the Attack on Titan Game Beauty collab. Love this color combo. I think this shade is so pretty and just glowy on the lids. It's gorgeous. But again, it's just not something I think about. It's not something I reach for. Quality-wise, I think it's perfectly fine. And especially if you love this collaboration theme and also love a quad, I think you'd love it, but it's just not my journey. And number 74, the final quad of this video. This is the Taste of Guava from Dede Signature. Hopefully that'll stay together enough for me to talk about, but this is the Taste of Guava quad. On top of the fact that, again, I don't really reach for quads, this one's also very broken. It came a little broken and it's just gotten more broken since, so it's just not something I can reach for unless I want a mess to be everywhere. I do love these colors though, and the formulas are nice. I think these shimmers are beautiful. It's just unfortunately not practical for me. Number 73 is the Blooming Basket from Dede Signature. It's a pretty cute fun time. Like, we have really fun explosions of color in here. The shimmers are really pretty. I'm not mad at this one. Really, starting at this point in the video, none of these I really consider to be bad or ones that I dislike. This is just one that, I don't know, there was something about it that I feel like maybe I wanted like the mattes to be better. I think that's what made this one not get ranked as high. They actually have improved their mattes over time, so I love to see that. That makes me really, really happy. Some of their newer palettes have been really good, but this one just, I don't know, something about it just didn't scream to me. I did like the combination of the depth and the pastels. The shimmers are gorgeous. I think the mattes just needed some improving for me. It wasn't super memorable. I didn't have a bad time with it, but I've tried better this year, frankly. Number 72 is the Beauty and the Beast palette from ColourPop. I have to be honest though, I kind of forgot this one existed until I was gathering things for this video. But it looks like this, kind of a mostly neutral with pops of color, very Beauty and the Beast vibes. I feel like it actually captures the colors of the movie really, really well with the golds and the yellows and the warm browns and the pops of blue. I think it's very cute. It's just not totally my cup of tea. No pun intended with Chip and Mrs. Potts. But it's fine. Like, it's cute to play with. It's just not like anything outstanding to me. Number 71 is the Spaced Out palette from Unearthly Cosmetics. I got this recently. This was in a mystery box last summer, but I recently acquired it this year. And it's cute. I'm not mad about it, but I don't know. They just have so many other really, really good palettes, and this one just doesn't really seem to quite measure up to the level of some of their other palettes that I've loved and adored. There's just something about it. I think the color story's funky and cool, but I don't know. I feel like their other palettes are just so much better. This one doesn't make me feel compelled to reach for it, so I don't know. It's just not my absolute favorite thing. Moving on to number 70 is the Dede Signature Sweet Aesthetics palette. This is an all matte palette, and this actually is their newer, more improved matte, which I can definitely tell. I feel like these mattes have more punch, more pigment. I feel like they blend beautifully. I really do like these colors that are in here too. The only reason I ranked it as low as I did is just because at the end of the day, it is kind of a rainbow-esque all matte palette, and that's just like not the first thing I reach for. As much as I love color, like color is my favorite thing. I love grungy shades and colorful shades. It's just everything. I don't feel compelled to reach for all matte rainbow palettes very much. I love having a mixture of mattes and shimmers. This is just not gonna be necessarily, I don't know, one that I'm gravitating toward a lot, but I don't think it's bad. If you're looking for something like this, this could be a good option for you. But I also just have to say, I feel like I have other rainbow palettes in my collection that I'm more likely to reach for. So this was just kind of I can see the progress with the formula getting better for sure, and I appreciate that, but this just wasn't my perfect palette. Number 69 is the Daylight palette from Alter Ego. This is their newest palette. This is a dupe for the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude. And as much as I'm not typically a neutral girl, and you would probably have expected me to rank the other Alter Ego palettes higher than this one, color story alone, I had to rank this one higher because this does not have that creamy matte texture that I detest. This only has their really pretty, sparkly, shimmery toppers and other just more opaque shimmers and their traditional powder mattes. And I'm just so thrilled to see this not have the formula in it that I don't like, that I wanted to rank this as high as I possibly could because I genuinely like all the other formulas that they do. I think they are so good, so beautiful, and I would probably rank so many more of their palettes very highly if they had only the good formulas. So I wanted to rank this one as high as possible, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to reach for this palette very often because I'm just not so much of a neutral person, but I do appreciate that it's kind of cool tone leaning with little pops of peach. I think that's cute. But everything else I love more. Number 68 is the Precious Metals from ColourPop. This reflective packaging is going to blind everyone. But it looks like this. It's one of their mega palettes. We have kind of a mixed metals sort of vibe going on. Lots of mattes. Lots of twinkly things, shimmers, a really good variety. I actually took this traveling with me to Colorado back in like May because I had a mixture of like warm and cool clothes, like color-wise, and I wanted a variety, and this has that variety. Like you have cool tones and warmth, you have lots of really pretty metallics. I think it's really nice, actually. I'm not anti this kind of mixed metal color story. It is big. I wish it was smaller. If it was smaller, I might have even ranked it a little bit higher, but I think it's cute. It's not what I'm gonna reach for all the time, but I do appreciate it for what it is. I think the mixed metals is really cool. Number 67, I gave to the Melt Cosmetics Smoke Sessions palette. I picked this up alongside of the Smoke Sessions 2 when it launched this year. I'll talk about that soon. But this one came out forever ago, so it's new to me. And I really do like how dark and grungy it is. We have kind of these grungy, warm, antique-y gold brown shades with like the weird grungy teals. I think it's a fun combo. However, I just feel like it's almost too shimmer heavy. I feel like if we had at least even one matte extra that was just like maybe more mid-toned to help just give you a little bit more variety. And again, don't get me wrong, I love a dark grungy vibe, but that's pretty much all I can do with this palette. Like, short of just smearing the light shimmers all over my lid and calling it a day, you're only gonna get dark grungy looks, and I wish this gave me just a tinge more variety. And also on top of the fact that like I feel like Melt Cosmetics shimmers have just gotten so good over the years. Their more recent palettes have such beautiful shimmers, and these ones are fine. They're more of that thick opaque metallic, and that's okay, but I just prefer other formulas more. So I don't think this is a bad palette. It's just not screaming to me. Number 66, I'm giving to the ColourPop and Pokemon palette. I think this is so cute. It's called Palette Town, which is literally perfect. But this is fun, kind of a fun explosion of colors. We have like sparkly, glitzy shades, a couple glittery shades in here. They're not as gritty as like other pressed glitters that have been done in the past, but they definitely have a little bit more of that glitzy, glittery vibe. This one's okay. Honestly, this one and the Smoke Sessions, I was kind of like torn between which one to rank higher. I ended up ranking this one higher just because the theme speaks to me more. I'm not a smoker, so the Smoke Sessions theme doesn't really do anything for me, but I love Pokemon, and I do think this was a very fun palette. I think the shade names are so cute, and this one just brings me joy. It's not my number one favorite palette. At the end of the day, it's still a vibrant, like colorful rainbow-esque palette, but the theming is really cute and it tickled me, so I wanted to rank this as high as I could. Number 65 is the Wildwood palette by Alter Ego. I think this was a dupe for the Yucca palette from Natasha Denona, and I have to explain myself because there are two of those shades, this one and this one, that have that cream matte texture, but because there's only two of them and I feel like I get really good variety with everything else, I can almost pretend with this palette that those two shades don't exist, and I still feel like this is a very complete palette for me, whereas a lot of their other palettes, it'll be like only their dark shades are the cream texture, and then I feel like I'm missing out on a chunk of the palette that I normally would love. So even though this has it, it is the most interesting color story out of the ones I've tried this year for my preferences. So I can let it slide this time, but I can tell you right now, this would have gotten ranked so much higher had those shades not been in there. I just don't like that formula. I strongly detest it. Number 64 is my Till Death palette by Jolly Beauty. I got gifted this from a friend, and I think it's really, really pretty. I do like the vibes that are in here. It's kind of like grungy but romantic. It was kind of like their idea of a like alternative wedding makeup sort of palette. And I think it's really cool. I love the dingy greens, the rosy tones, the slates, the cool tone browns. Very, very cool. I like the bright metallics in here and the glittery shades that aren't pressed glitters, but they just look super glitzy and shiny. In the spirit of being nitpicky for this ranking, there are some shades in here that are just like really subtle satins that I'm not a fan of. It's just not impactful enough for me. It doesn't have to be like a crazy shifty multi-chrome, but I need a little more impact. I need a little bit more of a metallic sheen or a shimmer or just something. And because I have to be picky in these rankings or else everything would be ranked super highly, that's what kind of made this one go down a bit. There's just some formulas in here that aren't my favorite, but I do think it's cool. I think it's fun. I had a good time with it. Number 63 is my Dede Signature Chrome Book Volume 1. This is super, super cool. This is like an all duochrome palette, and I don't typically want an all shimmer palette. Like, again, I want a variety, just like I don't want an all matte palette. I don't really want an all shimmer palette, but I do think these are really special. They're really, really pretty. This would be a great companion. I also have played with this by itself where I've just done like big wings, and it's super cool. There's some really fun, unique shades. I love these like red tones. It's a fun time. So even though like overall this isn't like my favorite style of palette, I think it was really well done. So I wanted to rank it kind of here because I don't really have any nitpicky issues with it. Honestly, I feel like starting right now in this ranking, I don't have any formula issues going forward. So that's pretty cool. I feel like we're at the part of the video where it's like, quality-wise, I have no complaints. I just like other things more than others based on like theming or color story or what have you. So that's kind of where I'm at here. Number 62 is the Gourmande Girls Gourmandises palette. This is their kind of take on a more pastel-ish palette. I don't really consider this like a pastel palette because it's definitely got a good mixture where there's pops of pastels, but I wouldn't like put this with my other pastel palettes if that makes sense. But this one's fun. Kind of a fun, playful arrangement of colors. I like the different shimmers that are in here. It's not a color story that screams to my soul, so I couldn't really rank it much higher than this, but I think it's fun. I enjoy their quality. I think their mattes have a good formula. They're very buttery and blendable, and their shimmers are super, super pretty, but overall, this one is just like, it's just a fine palette. You know, I could kind of take it or leave it. 61 is going to be my Nueva Vida palette in collaboration with Steph's Beauty Stash. This one is super, super cool. Very vibrant, very fun. I really enjoyed having this throughout like spring and summer. It just brings me a lot of joy. I love the design aspect of this one. It's just so aesthetically pleasing. I love when Doodles by the Bunny helps to create the theming of the palettes. I think they always look so just top tier and so good. The formulas are beautiful. Again, I love Gourmande Girls formula. So yeah, this one just brings me a lot of joy. This one speaks to my soul as far as just like the overall aesthetic. It's bright, it's punchy. I've had a good time with it. Moving on to number 60 is the Ultimate Cappuccino palette from Dede Signature. This one is super, super cute. I really love how curated this theme is. It's kind of their version of a coffee palette. And as someone who doesn't gravitate toward just neutral palettes very often, I love that this was a more creative twist on that, because I was worried it was just going to be like various shades of brown, like very coffee toned. And we have that aspect, but we have splashes of other things that I think make it really fun and unique. The mattes are beautiful in here. I really enjoy these shimmers. I think they're very like glossy looking on the lids. I like this. I think it was a very well done curated theme. Moving on to 59. Goodness, it's so hard to keep track already. But 59 I'm giving to the Smoke Sessions Volume 2 from Nomad Cosmetics. I love the shimmers that are in here. They like glow. They almost have a little bit of like a, not quite a topper, but almost like a little bit of a toppery glow, but they're still metallic looking. They're so pretty. They've improved their shimmers so much lately, and I love to see it. I like that we have the 3 mattes instead of just the 2 in the original Smoke Sessions. Like, I like that we have a little bit more of a gradient, a little bit more variety. I think this one's super cool. It's a purple palette without it being boring monochromatic, which I appreciate. But alas, there are just some other overall themes and color stories that do speak to me more. I mean, I love purple, don't get me wrong, but the theme, again, doesn't really do anything for me. So I feel like this is a good spot for it. Number 58 is one of the little Nomad travel palettes. They came out with like a bunch of little teeny palettes this year, and I have 3 of them. I think they've done 4 total, but the first one was just way too beige for me. So I skipped out on that one, but this is the first one that I have, the AUH. It's kind of a desert burnt sienna kind of vibe, which I'm actually really into right now because it is very much entering pumpkin spice season. So this feels very on theme for that. And I think this is curated really well. Again, it's just kind of like not totally my vibe as far as just like the purpose and sizing of this, just like a little 6-pan travel palette. I want, again, just a little bit more variety. I don't want just like a tiny monochromatic palette, but I do think it was done really well. We have a nice gradient with the 4 mattes. We have 2 beautiful metallics. They are so, so pretty. If you're into this sort of palette, I think you'd really enjoy these little guys. Number 57 is one of the other Nomad palettes. This is the OSL. I wanted to rank this one just a little bit higher because I do really, really love cool tone neutrals. As someone who doesn't love neutrals very much, cool tones are where it shines for me. I love these vibes. Again, we have a beautiful gradient with the mattes. These 2 metallic shimmers are so pretty. I feel gorgeous when I wear colors like this, so I wanted to rank this one just a teeny bit higher, but similar reasonings for why it's ranked here. Number 56, I'm giving to the NYX Cosmetics Garden Busters palette. This is a new brand. This is actually a sister brand to Oden's Eye, and this is their first palette. I think this is fun. Obviously, this sister to the brand has more of the kooky, whimsical, weird sort of energy, which I can appreciate. I feel like this palette is a little bulky for me. Like I can even get past the mixed matched pans if the palette wasn't so thick. I wish it was more sleek and thin just because I have a zillion palettes, so I would like them to be a little smaller so I can fit more in. But I'm liking the formulas. This is still fairly new to me, but I'm enjoying it. I think the mattes are nice. They have good pigmentation, they blend out good, and the shimmers are really, really pretty. I actually specifically really like these marbled shades. I think they just have a really nice dimension on the lid. Like you're not going to necessarily see all of these colors on the lid when they're all kind of blended together, but I just feel like it gives it a little bit of dimension, a little bit of something extra. So I'm enjoying it. I feel like just overall, theme-wise, it doesn't scream to me, but I'm very curious to see what this brand continues to do because I'm not disliking them. I just feel kind of indifferent at the moment. Oh man, number 55. I don't even want to talk about this one this low. Why is this one even this low? Oh, I think I had a nitpicky thing. That's why. Well, number 55 is the Pretty in Pastels palette from Glaminatrix. I actually quite adore this pastel palette. I think they did a great job with it because it kind of has the 3 key elements that I look for in pastels. Like there's shimmers, there's pastels, and then there's a row of deepening shades to help add depth and dimension to my looks, which I really, really appreciate. I think this is super fun. My only nitpicky gripe is I feel like these blues are way too similar. They look the exact same on the lid for me. So again, sometimes I have to be so picky when determining where to place things. So that's kind of how this one ended up here. But I do think this is beautiful. We're at a part in the video where I'm like, wow, these are all really good. Why are these not ranked higher? But it's because there's so many good things. So it was really hard to not rank things even higher, but I think this is beautiful. This is a great palette. Number 54 is the Melted Mattes palette from Beaute Bar. I just think this is so creative and so cool. It's a half neutral, half neon palette, which I've never really seen before. And the formulas are so good. Beaute Bar's mattes are just so buttery, smooth, beautiful. And I very rarely or ever have encountered neon mattes that aren't like dry and gritty to the touch. These are also like buttery soft and they're so beautiful to work with. I'm very impressed with these neons. The only reason I didn't rank this one higher is just because half of the palette is not really something I'm gonna reach for very often. And it also is all mattes, which they did come out with a companion like all metallics palette that I'll talk about soon to kind of play along with this. But as a single palette, I mostly only care about the neon. So the fact that only half of it is truly screaming to me, I could only rank it so high, but I am very impressed just with the formula and just how creamy these neons are. Number 53 is the Blend Bunny and Ellis Atlantis collab palette. This is ginormous. It's literally like a full table. It's crazy, but it's so beautiful. Like honestly, out of all of their rainbow palettes that the brand has done, this is the best one. Like this is the only rainbow palette you would ever need again. I love that there's a mixture of like super bright borderline neon shades with really pretty depth sprinkled in. There's grungy tones, beautiful iridescent shimmers. This silver shimmer is the best silver shimmer in the entire world. It is quite large, much bigger than I prefer when it comes to palettes, but I just can't deny how perfect of a rainbow palette this is. So I did want to rank it as high as I could, but because I don't reach for just rainbow palettes all the time, and because this is just so large, I wanted to rank some other things higher. I do like more of a curated specific color story, but I do have to say this is just the ultimate rainbow palette. Next up, number 52 is this little cutie. This feels so tiny to hold compared to that palette. But this is the Wicked Widow Beauty Lovesick palette, and I love a theme. I love a curated specific theme in a small, concise little guy. 8 shades. We have a good range of matte to shimmer, like we have 4 of each. It's a cutie little Valentine's palette. I love Valentine's Day. This came out right around Valentine's Day, obviously. And I just think it's such a cutie. I love the formulas. The shimmers are beautiful and the mattes are so cute. So yeah, I wanted to rank this one as high as I could. And number 51, I gave to the Spring Dragon palette in collaboration between Oden's Eye and Judy. This is so cute. She's done a collab with them in the past. It was the Red Dragon. So I love the idea of doing like the Spring Dragon kind of, not opposite, but just a different dragon. Like we have so many pretty pastels in here. I think it's super cute. There's also some pops of neutral if that's your vibe. And honestly, the pops of neutral are what ended up making me rank this a little bit lower because I just genuinely don't really care about this part of the palette. It's just not my journey. If you're someone who wants like those classic neutrals with pops of pastel, this would be perfect for you. But because like there's a chunk of this palette that I basically don't care about, I couldn't rank it as high as some of the other things in this video, but I do think she did a great job. The shimmers that are in here are so pretty, and I think these pastels are very cute. Moving on to number 50, I'm giving it to the other travel size Nomad palette. This is the YXC. This is so cute. I like that this one is less monochromatic than the other two that I talked about. We have kind of a blue-green sort of combo, which I love. I love blue and green. I never get sick of it. This is super cute, but again, just these like tiny little travel palettes are just not the first thing I go for. So I didn't want to rank it any higher, but I just love this color story. I'm such a sucker for it. And I love Nomad's formulas. So this is the most perfect one out of their travel size palettes for me. Number 49, I'm giving to the Sigma Beauty Cool Neutrals palette. I genuinely think this is just so pretty. I feel like this is such a good kind of neutrals with a twist. It's definitely not like fully cool toned, so I know that name kind of rubs some people the wrong way, but I like the variety that's in here. I like that we have kind of these yellowy sort of shades into the dusty pinks, into the purples, into the grays and stuff like that. And honestly, even with the stuff over here, I feel like they're almost like cooler toned versions of that color. Like this is almost more of a dingy, cooled down yellow, even though it's not like a cool toned color, you know what I mean? I don't know. I think this is pretty. I like that we have kind of the matching matte to shimmer with everything. The mattes are super blendable and easy to work with, very pigmented, and the shimmers just look glossy and lovely on the lids. I feel so pretty and glamorous when I wear this. I feel like I can do a really good combination of grungy looks and just like pretty looks with this palette, so it's cool. If I'm gonna reach for something that's neutral adjacent, this is definitely a contender for me. Number 48 is the What's Up Beauty Dragon Eye palette. I'm a little late getting this one. I feel like this one came out a bit ago, maybe even still this year, so maybe it's not late according to this video, but anyways, it looks like this. It's very cute, kind of a, I don't know, like a muted, colorful sort of vibe. I like these pops of jewel tone with the shimmers. The shimmers are so pretty. They're glossy on the lids and the mattes are really nice. I think this is cute. I think it's really, really cute. So yeah, kind of like a nice middle of the road palette. Like it's not one of my top favorites, but I've greatly enjoyed using it. Number 57, I'm giving to my Glamlight and Chucky palette, the Good Guys palette. We have that lenticular packaging. But this one kind of opens like this, and we have all these fun, playful colors. This is very much giving like children's toy store energy with the like very vibrant oranges and greens and blues. I was actually pleasantly surprised with this one because I've tried some Glamlight palettes. I haven't tried that many, but I feel like the ones I've tried have been very hit or miss. Sometimes the formulas are really nice, sometimes they're very subpar, and I feel like this was pretty good. I really enjoyed how opaque and glitzy the metallics are, and the mattes seem to have really good pigmentation, but they also blended out really nicely. I've been happy with the looks I've created. I love a spooky themed palette, so I think this is a fun time. Number 46, I'm giving to the Nomad New Zealand Stargazing palette, inching into Nomad's full-size palettes now. This is so cute. I love the galaxy vibe. I think it's so fun. I love like the blue, purple, pink sort of combo. There's a couple splashes of beige, which I don't love. It's honestly kind of what knocked this down a little bit. I am running the war against beige, but I do think overall this is a very fun vibe, very fun premise. I love how just spacey and galactic it is. It's very, very cool. Number 45, I'm giving to the Effervescence palette. This is from Dede Signature in collaboration with Makeup on Your Radar, and these little palettes they came out with in this like peacock collection are my favorites they've ever done. I think these are so pretty. This is an all iridescent palette. These are super cute. I like the shifts. I think they're fun. I don't really have any gripes with this palette. I just feel like I have iridescence in my collection that I maybe am more drawn to. It's not a bad iridescence palette, but I just feel like the other 3 palettes in this launch were better. It's just fine. It's a cute little iridescent palette. I'll use it here and there, but it's not like the first thing I'm gonna gravitate toward. But it is saying something that I ranked in all shimmer palettes. Fairly close to the middle of the ranking, you know? And honestly, same with the next one. This is 44. Am I counting correctly? I think I'm counting correctly. I'm trying to keep track. 44. This is the Beaute Bar Molten Chromes palette. This launched alongside of the Melted Mattes, and it's very cute. We have 6 beautiful, shifty, magical shimmers. Honestly, just the shifts and tones that are in these shimmers are just so cool. Like I had no choice but to rank this one higher than the last all shimmer palette that I just talked about. It's so pretty. It is so, so pretty, but I'm more likely just gonna store this palette with my single shadows so that it's accessible if I'm ever playing with singles, which isn't super common, unfortunately. I wish I had more time to, but I'm more likely to reach for this in more of a singles sort of vibe than a palette. So I didn't want to rank it any higher, but these are super, super pretty. Number 43, I'm giving to the Mellow Grove palette from Lethal Cosmetics. I think this is so pretty, very much kind of like a dusty, muted spring vibe. It is so cool. I really enjoy these tones. It's very just soft and pretty and cutesy, and maybe not like one of my top favorites, obviously, because we're still in the 40s as of right now, but I do really enjoy this one. I think they did a good job with this like curated story. It's very cute, and I don't really have a whole lot like this in my collection. Number 42 is the Extravagance palette, also part of that Dede Signature Makeup on Your Radar, and this is where we're getting more into these like specific peacocky themes. Very, very cool. I love how vibrant with the green, blue, red. I like the pink and green shimmer. It's just so vibrant and loud and so, so cool, and I just love these little palettes. I just hope to see the brand continuing to do more, I don't know, just like not necessarily 5 pans, but just like very specific, fun color stories. I think their packaging is cute on these. I feel like it's the best packaging they've done, and I just hope they continue on from this trajectory because these are great. And number 41 is the Eloquence palette. It is, again, another one of those peacock palettes. I love this one. I love the like kind of raspberry pink with the teal, with the blue, with the purple. It's all so fun. It's so fun. These are so cute. I find myself just creating really fun, creative looks with these. And I like that they're 5 pans, but they're very like curated color stories in a 5 pan. Like a lot of the time small palettes like this end up just being monochromatic, and I love that these actually have some personality to them. And now we're entering number 40. This is now officially the top half of this ranking. Crazy. I've already been here forever. This is gonna be such a long video. Number 40 is my Nomad Cosmetics Keys Beachy and Peachy. This is their palette based on the Florida Keys, and it's super fun. Very much a vibrant splash of colors. I like that this side is very like rich fruit punch energy, and this side is like melon kind of energy. It's very cute. I like the 2 dividing sides. It's fun. It's not like my favorite color story the brand has ever done or necessarily theme, because even though I live in Florida, I'm not a beach girl at all, but I can still appreciate it for what it is. I think it's fun, I think it's cute, and I've had a good time playing with it. Number 39 is the Unearthly Cosmetics High Temp palette. I've had a great time with this. It's so cute. I really enjoy that we have like the very fiery top row and then the more mauvey bottom row. I think it's a really fun contrast while still keeping with the warmth. The shimmers are gorgeous. I feel like their shimmers and all their newest palettes are just so glossy on the lids. I'm super into it. The mattes are pigmented and punchy, and this one's fun. If you like warmth, you would love this. Number 38, correct? I'm losing count so quick, but 38 is the Twilight palette. with ColourPop, and I love this. I was so head over heels in love with this collection because I feel like this captures the vibes of the movie so well with that like teal filter over everything. It is so perfect. The shade names are so cute. I know people were mad that there wasn't like a red in the palette because it's vampires, but there really isn't red in the first movie. So for me, it's perfect. And I just truly hope that they continue on and do the other movies eventually. Like a New Moon palette would be so vibey. Like those colors would be so cool. But I love this. I think it's super fun. ColourPop's formulas are just like fine to me. Like I don't think they're anything crazy insane, but they're not bad. So because of that, like I just have other formulas that I'm going to talk about that I love more. But color story and theming wise, this was A+. I love Twilight. I am so unashamed about it. Number 37, I'm giving to the Coastal palette from Simply Posh. I love this because they did a beachy palette that isn't just like toasty browns with a pop of blue. I love that it's a colorful beachy palette. It very much encapsulates like seashells. It's so pretty. I love these dusty tones. The shimmers are gorgeous in here. I love this. Their formulas are so, so good. And I just love a curated theme. What can I say? Number 35 is the Mighty Monster palette between Oden's Eye and Annette's Makeup Corner. This is her second palette with the brand and it's so cute. I love these vibes. It's very rich and colorful, and to me it just gives Jurassic Park. Like I see this palette and I think dinosaurs. I don't know what that is. Something about these colors just screams dinosaurs to me. So take that for what you will. I love Oden's Eye's formulas. I think this color story is fun. So there you have it. We're kind of at the point in the video where I don't really necessarily have strong reasons why things are ranked where they are. I just kind of had to go based on vibes and things that I was more likely to reach for. So if I'm not giving a specific reason, I literally just had to go with my gut. Did I call this number 35? This is number 35. If I get any of my numbers mixed up, I apologize. It's a lot to keep track of. But this is number 35. This is the Earthwood palette. This is in collaboration with Tina, the Fancy Face in Oden's Eye, and it's so pretty. I love these earthy vibes. The shimmers are so cool. I love that it's colorful, but like muted colorful. Like we have kind of a mixture of grungy and light. It's very fun. I think this is so, so pretty. I think Tina is so sweet. I've had the pleasure of meeting her in real life and this is just so cute. Number 34 is the Spring Magic palette from Unearthly Cosmetics. I think this is so pretty. I love the vibes that are in here. It's just like such a soft, moody springtime palette. Again, the shimmers are gorgeous. They're just so metallic and glidey on the lids. The mattes blend out so beautifully. I really, really like this. I like that it's very just like soft garden tea party vibes. It's so cute. Number 33 is the final Dede Signature and Makeup on Your Radar collab. This is the Elegance, and if you know me at all, you know I love blue and green, so this one was an obvious favorite out of those four. Definitely my favorite palette Dede Signature has ever done. It's just so cutesy. I love the vibrancy. It's so fun. I like how dark this blue is with how bright the greens are. This multi-chrome over here is so shifty and pretty. I'm very into this one. Number 32 is the Peach Perfect palette from Gourmande Girls. This is so pretty. I love this peach theme. It's such a unique take. I love the pops of peach with the pops of green and blue. It's just so cool. I don't really have anything quite like this. I just think they did such a great job. Again, the formulas are beautiful from this brand, and again, I just love a curated theme. I love a very specific theme, and this just makes me so happy. Number 31 is the Fuji 5 Lakes palette from Nomad. This is their most recent palette, and first of all, I just love this like canvasy painted on looking packaging. It's so pretty. And then the insides are so cool. This is supposed to be themed around like Fuji in the fall time, and it's just so cool. I love the primary colors together, but with like a fall time twist. The pretty reds, the dusty blues, the mustardy yellows. It is such a cool combination. This one brings me so much joy. All right, moving into the top 30. I am so surrounded by palettes right now. Number 30 is the Flying Fiddles palette from Adept. I bought this for myself a couple months ago, and I think it's so pretty. Adept's formulas are just so good. The different like shimmers and multi-chromes are outstanding. I love the grungy vibes with these mattes. They are so, so pretty. And I just feel gorgeous when I wear this. Again, I can kind of get a good combination of like grungy meets pretty. I like that it's kind of earthy neutrals with a twist. Very much my vibe if I want anything neutral adjacent. It's so pretty. So pretty. 29 is gonna be my Ensley Reign Groovy Garden palette. I just think this color story is so cool. Very much like retro, almost 70s inspired kind of vibes. It's so pretty. I love just like the mustard yellows and the dark like plummy shades with the weird mauves and the weird sagey teals. The shimmers are so pretty, so many pretty shifty multi-chromes. I love the formulas from this brand. This palette is so cool. Number 28 is the Ultraviolet palette between Beaute Bar and Deandra Nicole. I love Deandra so much. She takes the prettiest pictures. And this is the coolest purple palette, like the most ultimate purple palette there ever was and ever will be. I think this is so pretty. I love that we have warmth with like the more fuchsia-y leaning purples and then the very pretty like inky indigo violet-y shades. Just such a good contrast, a great contrast between light and dark. So many pretty shifty shimmers. I love this. This was such a great collab. Number 27 is my Dreamer palette from Unearthly, which I think this is my favorite palette they've done this year so far. But I believe the Gargoyle palette is on its way to me soon, so that'll probably end up beating it, I have a feeling. But for now, the Dreamer palette is just so good. I love this style of palette from them with the 2 rows. I love the kind of adjacent like matte to shimmer matching situation. It's very much kind of like moody, almost neutrals with a twist for me, because I mean we have like the neutrally shades over here, and then we have splashes of like muted color in the middle. It's so pretty. I love this. I love cool tones. This is just gorgeous. Number 26 is the Air palette. Lethal Cosmetics did a big 4 palette collab with Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is so cool. And this is the Air palette. It's so fun. This one's very much more the like neutral leaning one out of the 4. It's mostly neutrals with a couple pops of color, and I feel like the pops of color could easily be incorporated with the neutrals to still have kind of a neutral vibe. So if you want to try this brand and you're a neutral leaning kind of person, this could be one to reach for. But the shimmers in these 4 collab palettes are the prettiest shimmers they've ever done. They are so sparkly and beautiful on the lids, and the mattes are just beautiful. They blend out so nicely. I love the theming. It is everything. But the other 3 speak to my soul more, so I didn't want to rank it any higher. Number 25 is the Crow palette from Wicked Widow Beauty. This is such a cool theme, such a cool palette. I love this. The shade names, the colors, everything. It's just so cool. This fits the vibes of the movie so perfect. I love the like red, gray, smoky, sultry. It is so good. The shimmers are so pretty. I'm so impressed with this palette. It is absolutely stunning. Number 24 is the Gloomy Gardens palette from D'Avrune. This is just so pretty. I love a grungy garden theme, and this one is just so cool. The 5 different shimmers have such pretty shifts. I love these different mattes. The formula is so nice. They've improved a lot since their first palette, and this one is just so beautiful. I love this theme. Number 23 is the Water palette from Lethal Cosmetics, one of the Avatar palettes, and it's just so cute. I love blues. I love cool tones. These shimmers are just so pretty, and I just, I love these blues. They're so cool. The shifts in these shimmers are everything. I'm so impressed with this. Number 22 is the Fire palette from the Lethal and Avatar collab. This one is so fun. I love just literally how fiery it is. Like, I love the dark reds and the burnt shades and all the pretty like orange, yellow, red shimmers. It is so cool, so vibrant, so fun. I just love it. And I cannot stress enough, these are the best shimmers they've ever done. Number 21 is the Moonwish palette from Oden's Eye. This is their most recent palette, and it's so pretty. So cute. I love these colors. I love kind of the bluey purple, but with the pops of like yellow and gold. I think it's a really fun kind of celestial vibe. It's super pretty. Love their formulas. This is a very fun one. It goes so nicely with their first Soulmane, because this is technically the Soulmane 2 Moonwish. So it's kind of like the sister to the original Soulmane palette. So yeah, that's this one. It's very fun. Oh goodness, moving on to the top 20. I feel like these top 20 are just so top tier. They are so, so good. I mean, the top 10 are the most top tier, but these 20 are just, oh, they're so good. So many good palettes have launched this year. Number 20, I'm giving to the Flourish palette from Ensley Reign. I loved these small palette launches they did. I want them to do more in this size, honestly, because I think it's just so perfect. This one's just like fun, colorful, whimsical fairy vibes, and it's so cute. So many pretty shifty shimmers, so many bright pops of color. It's a great time. And number 19 is the Flutter palette that launched alongside of the Flourish, also from Ensley Reign. This one's more like witch in the woods, forest nymph kind of energy. So many gorgeous shifty shimmers. I just love the grungy undertones in this one. It's just so cool. It is so fun. I've had a blast playing with these. They're great. Number 18 is the Ireland palette from Nomad Cosmetics. By far my favorite one they've done this year. One of my top favorites they've ever done, honestly. It's just so pretty. I love these different like undertones of green, the pops of blue and gold and rusty orange. Such a beautiful combination. The metallics that are in here are so shiny on the lids. I love this. I think they absolutely killed it with this one. Number 17 is the D'Avrune Dewdrops palette, and shocking that an all shimmer palette made it up this high, because again, I do tend to prefer variety, but these shimmers are just like unstoppable. I've actually been storing this with my highlighter palettes because not only have I used these as really pretty additions on my eyes, but I've also used it as a face highlighter palette multiple times. I feel like this is just so versatile and so unique. The sparkles that are in here are so good. I love the different shifts. I've never played with iridescence quite like these. These are so top tier. Number 16 is the Cradled and Ice palette from Fantasy Cosmetica. This is so pretty. This is their first time doing this style of a palette. Like, it's out of their normal like class character sort of 9 pans, and I think it's so cool because it's still fantasy related. It's a dragon themed palette, but it's like an ice dragon, and it's so fun. Again, I love cool tones. I think this is so pretty. It's like grungy blues with the pops of like pinky, and even these like neutrals are kind of like funky toned, cool tone neutrals. Like, they have a little bit of a rosy undertone. I feel like the shimmers look so unassuming in the pans, but when they're swatched out or played with on the eyes, they are so pretty and magical. Number 15 is the Cosmic Dreamer palette from Ensley Reign. I've had a great time with this one. I think it's so fun. Kind of like a half colorful, half grungy sort of palette. It's so cool. I love all these different murky greens and the blues and the pinks, all the fun splashes of shimmer. It's just such a fun time. I've greatly enjoyed playing with this one. I love how dark a lot of these shades get. It's so pretty. Number 14 is Blend Bunny's newest palette. It's a collab with Donnie Darkowitz. This is the Little Miss She Never Misses, and it is so fun. I've had a great time with this one. It is so vibrant. I love the different like greens, blues, purples. This autumnal row over here is everything with the reds and oranges. These shimmers and multi-chromes are some of their best. They are so good. I feel very creative when I use this. I feel like I get sort of Halloween vibes out of this with the like vibrant greens and oranges and purples. It's just so cool. Very fun. Number 13 is the collab between Adept Cosmetics and Amy Loves Makeup, and it is so pretty. Just a romantic, cool tone dream. I am so obsessed with it. It's so pretty. I've taken this one traveling with me, and I feel so glamorous. I feel like you can do really nice kind of grungy vibes, but you can also do very pretty, whimsical vibes. It's kind of colorful, but kind of neutral. Definitely a neutrals with a twist sort of vibe. This shade Glam is so sparkly. It is so wet looking. I just love this. I love Amy so much, and this palette is so cool. Number 12 is also an Adept palette. This is the Cyborg Choir. I treated myself to it when I bought the Flying Fiddles, and it's just so pretty. I've also traveled with this one. I loved how like weird and punchy the different mattes are. Like, we have a combination of depth and then a couple pops of like pastel-y. All these pretty shifty multi-chromes. It's riddled with holochrome, so you get that rainbow reflect. These shimmers are unreal. It is just such a cool palette. So unlike anything I have, it's just everything. So cool. Number 11 is my Cool Trolls palette from Cosmic Brushes. This is such a fun palette. I love this. It's very much more like colorful cool tones rather than cool tone neutrals. Like, there's a couple, but it's very much a colorful palette. We have really pretty depth with these blues. We have splashes of purpliness. We have the couple just traditional cool tone neutrals if that's your vibe as well. You can kind of mix and match things. The shimmers that are in here are so good. So many pretty shifty multi-chromes and duochromes and just sparkly things, all the yumminess. I love their formulas. They're one of my favorite brands, and this is just such a good one. Oh my gosh, we are officially in the top 10. Did you ever think we'd get here? Number 10 is my Wizard palette from Fantasy Cosmetica. They launched this at the very beginning of the year, and it is so beautiful. It's very much like blues with pops of banana yellow. Like, I love those baby yellows so much. I love a blue yellow combo. I know I've already mentioned that, and this is just so cool. I love the different shimmers. It's so twinkly and pretty, and I love the depth, and this shade has holographic reflex. It's so cool. You can kind of see the shift in the pan there. It's so pretty. I just love it. Definitely one of my favorite palettes they've ever done. I think Druid still remains supreme, but this is probably my second favorite. It's so good. Number 9 is my Secret Garden palette from Beaute Bar. Again, I just love like a grungy garden color story. And this has like the grungy depth, but it also has very vibrant shades. There's also like a row of neutrals if you need that. And honestly, this neutral shimmer has the prettiest holographic reflect through it, so it's all sparkly and rainbow. It's so pretty. But I love all these different splashes of color. I literally can never get enough green. This like chartreusey lime has my heart. Just so many cool shades. It's so pretty. It's a little larger than I prefer, but I can't deny just how much I love it. Number 8 is my Dead Roses palette from Beaute Bar. This is just so cool. They came out with this around Valentine's Day. It's kind of an anti-Valentine's Day palette. And again, I just love such a specific theme. And this is so cool. And these shimmers are everything. They are so shifty and pretty. I love how bold everything is. We have these really deep shades over here. It is so fun. So fun. I think this is beautiful. Number 7 is the final Lethal Cosmetics and Avatar palette. This is the Earth palette. This is by far my favorite palette they've ever done. It is so pretty. These different greens, I love the different undertones. I love the dark depth here, the kind of like weird Kelly green teal shade. Even these burnt warm browns are so pretty. They have like a little bit of plumminess to them. These different shimmers have beautiful shifts. I'm so in love with this one. They did such a top tier job. Number 6 is my Strawberry Moon from Ensley Reign. This one actually was like number 1 for a minute there, but it got surpassed obviously 5 times because now it's in 6th place, but it's so fun. Vibrant, colorful, so many splashes of color, really pretty holographic twinkles in some of these shades. I love how it goes from just like super dark to very vibrant and juicy, and it is just so yummy. Such a fun palette. One of my top ones from the brand. I'm just now realizing you can like now see some of these palettes stacking up. It's fine. It's fine. It adds to the vibes. Just me surrounded by palettes. Number 5 is the Neutrals palette from Cosmic Brushes. This launched alongside of the Cool Trolls, and it is so pretty. This one took me by such surprise because I was worried it was just gonna be riddled with beige. And like, don't get me wrong, there's a couple splashes of like light neutral in here, which I don't really care about, but everything else just makes my heart skip a beat. Not only, again, is this one of my favorite brands, like they have just such beautiful formulas. The mattes are so just pigmented and blendable, and the shimmers are so outstanding. I just love these tones, these like dusty shades. They're kind of like neutral versions of vibrant colors. So we have these very like dingy plums and the mustard yellows and the sagey greens. And I just love these grungy tones. It's very desert vibes. It is so cool. This took me by such surprise. I never would have expected a palette called Neutrals would become one of my favorites, but it's just so pretty. I love this so much. It's gorgeous. Number 4, I'm giving to my Moonshroom palette by Lunar Beauty. I'm so glad I got myself this because it's just so cool. So many fun, funky shades. Again, kind of grungy garden energy, which I love. I adore all these different like mustards and the weird greens, the pops of teal. I feel like this light purple over here just takes this palette to another level. It is so pretty. I love the metallics that are in here. This is such a good palette. It's just so gorgeous. Number 3, I'm giving to my Barely Basic palette from Glaminatrix, which is cracking me up. Like in my top 5 are palettes called Neutrals and Barely Basic. Who am I? But both of these palettes took me by such surprise. This Glaminatrix one is so good. I just love these tones, very autumnal vibes with the plums, the rusty pumpkin oranges, these greens, and these shimmers are so good. They're so metallic and shifty, and these iridescents are incredible. This is just such an amazing palette. My favorite palette the brand has ever done. This one took me by such surprise based on the name, and I just love these tones. I crave them so much. Number 2 is a newer palette in my collection actually, but it crept up to the top instantaneously. It's the Oceano palette by Clionadh, and this is so beautiful. I'm such a sucker for like a bluey green vibe. I love the pops of orange that are in here. I love the twinkly purples. The multi-chromes are so shifty and gorgeous and incredible. I'm actually wearing this palette right now. It is just everything. I love how glowy this shade is. It's just so pretty. I love these colors. They speak to my soul. The formulas are incredible. The shimmers are out of this world. I'm in love with this palette. And ranked number 1, and it's gonna be very hard for this one to lose first place. I'm telling you right now. I'm so confident that even if this doesn't remain first place, which I'm pretty sure it will, it's gonna at least be in the top 3 by the end of the year. Mark my words. But it is the Longing palette by Blend Bunny. This is so beautiful. I love this palette so much. One of my favorites they've ever done. It's just gorgeous. Again, I love like these dusty, grungy, whimsical cool tones. I love the shimmers. Like these are their best shimmers that they've ever done. They're so twinkly and iridescent and just so beautiful. I love these colors. I love the dinginess. It's so pretty. It's giving a Victorian tea party. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just so pretty. It is absolutely everything. I love these colors so dearly, and I love this brand, and I love these formulas, and it was just a no-brainer for the first place slot. It is so deserving. And that, my friends, is all 79 of the palettes I've tried so far this year ranked. I have been sitting here for a very long time. This video is going to be a beast to edit, so I hope you enjoy it. I would love to hear your thoughts. What have you tried this year? Have you tried any of these? Do you want any of these? Feel free in the comments to rank all the palettes you've tried this year, or maybe just list me a couple favorites, because I'm always very curious what people love. If you made it to the end of this video, I don't even know. Why don't you leave your top 10 favorite emojis? Do a little ranking theme there. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel out a lot. And if you're not already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm BATTYBEAN there as well. Also, if you want to, you can subscribe. I'm posting most days over here, and you can join my channel memberships. The link to sign up will be down below. You'll get fun little perks, including a members only video once a month. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye.